Hi Geminis, and welcome to your March 2019 Tarology 33 reading. We have a Celtic Cross spread in front of us, which is normally a 10-card spread, but you guys got an extra card in the position of the near future. And then you guys got extra oracle cards from both of the oracle decks that I use. And then we also have a mudra card to go through at the end, so definitely going to be a lot of messages we need to hit. So we'll get started with the main spread, going one by one. In the main situation position, you have the Three of Pentacles. So to me, this is usually building something stable that will last a long time and that you're actually pleased with as well. So the way I describe it, well, it represents the middle 10 degrees of Capricorn as far as the astrology goes, but I also view it as like a blend of Saturn and Venus energy, where Saturn is lending that stability, and then Venus comes along to give it that beautifying effect, something that you're pleased with that's going to stand the test of time. So this could be, something in your home. It could be a project you're working on that you're really taking your time with and making sure that, you're pleased with how it comes out. This could be actual relationships that you're working on, building them on a stable foundation. But, either way, this is pretty early on in the stage, but it's something that you're starting with a firm foundation, knowing that you're getting it off on the right foot, and then it has a chance of withstanding a lot of things over time. But with the challenger obstacle position, we have the Judgment card in reverse. So, to me, with this in the reverse and showing up in the challenge position, what I'm really getting from this is it's saying that the challenge to you getting this off the ground correctly is you still have something that you need to let go of from the past. Now, that could be something of an emotional nature. It could be something of a physical nature. As Geminis, you guys get that reputation sometimes for starting the whole new thing before you wrap up the other one, right? So, you might have started something, some kind of project, and before you wrapped it up fully, you hopped into the next one. And, but whatever the case may be, with this in the challenge position in the reverse, it's saying that, in order to get that progress that you're hoping for, you'd be best suited to put whatever that was in the past behind you. So, whether it's an emotional situation that you have to get closure on, it's a physical project you were working on, maybe you just want to wrap that up so you can fully focus your energy on that. And maybe that's what it is too. You might be trying to do two things at once, for example, and they might both end up suffering as a result of that. So to me, this looks like it's trying to say focus on that one thing and let go of the thing that you might no longer see a future with, in order to move forward. So, that could be, for example, being in a relationship, in a new relationship, but you're not fully out of the old one, right? So maybe it's just the paperwork, right? Maybe you've been separated from someone. Let's say for those of you who are married, you're separated from them legally. You guys just haven't officially been divorced, right? And you're like, well, I'm in this new connection now. It seems like it's going to have that stability. I could really see this going long term, but I still need to officially get divorced, right, before we could take it to that next level. And that could definitely be the case since I see the Justice card here in the environment position, but I don't want to jump too far ahead. But again, that could be any situation. It could be a job. Maybe you're starting one new job, right, but you're still kind of working a few hours here and there at the old one, so it's hindering your ability to focus fully on the new one. There's a multitude of ways that it could play out, but that's really what I'm getting. Is that you desire to build something stable in the present, but there's still something from the past that might be blocking that in some way. All right, in the foundation position, we have the Four of Wands. So again, this is another card that points to wanting that stability. This is definitely a good card to have for that as well. It represents the last 10 degrees of Aries, and as we come into March, Uranus is going to be wrapping up its transit through those last degrees of Aries, and then it's going to be moving into Taurus. So this could be something with friendships. 11th house represents a lot of things. Could just be a wish that you had to, some kind of hope and wish that you had for a long time, that you're finally trying to put to fruition. Maybe the Uranus energy, especially when it was making some tough aspects, maybe it's been real off and on. You're like, you make progress, then all of a sudden it seemed like it get knocked aside, or you had to abandon it for a while, and then you were going back and forth. So maybe it's saying that now would be the time for you to just completely abandon that project, or again, if this is something new, it's saying that, all right, yeah, you can get here, but again, if you want to build that solid, sturdy foundation, there's still something from the past you need to let go of. And this could be saying in the foundation, yeah, this is totally possible as long as you realize that and you let that go. In the past position, we have the Ten of Pentacles. So this could just say that you're very financially stable in the past, or at least this was a focus of yours. That's another way that could play out. But with this representing stability, sometimes this looks like family and legacy, right? So again, maybe that's what it was. Maybe, you had something. Let's say this was a relationship you were in for 10 years, right? So, okay, you built it up. You guys, like I said, maybe some of you were even married, thought things were going well. Something came along where that needed to come to an end. We have Jupiter in the 7th house right now. So that could play out in a couple of different ways. It could exacerbate existing issues to where you can't ignore them anymore, especially with Neptune in your 10th house too. Those planets, when they were squaring each other, could have really brought something out in that regard to have you look at it like, okay, this isn't functioning. And then another way it could play out too is it could also bring positive new connections in your life. So maybe that, again, is what's going on there. You had one thing wrapping up, you realized, okay, this isn't salvageable. So it's like, all right, well, before you sabotage this new thing that has the potential to go for the long haul, you really need to make sure that you're fully out of that old thing first. That's the primary vibe that I'm getting there with this. But with this in the past and this in the present, it could also be, again, like I was saying with the jobs. Maybe this was a job you were in the past. Maybe you had 10 years of experience, let's say, at the old job. And now this is something that's relatively new to you. And it's like, okay, this could be something that lasts you for the long haul. But, you have to fully let that old thing go. So definitely seems to be that kind of dynamic playing out of letting one thing go fully and committing to the new thing. And speaking of committing, in the present position, you guys have the Hierophant card. So this is actually a card for the Major Arcana card for Taurus. And right now you have Taurus moving through your 12th house. It's in the sign of Taurus. So when Mars is moving through that house, this could just be saying, your dream world might be very active, for example. You might be looking at some ways that you might have sabotaged yourself in the past, right? Well, is this something that's happened to me repeatedly, right? Has this always happened? I thought, okay, I could build it up to this point, but I always get stuck here. Maybe it's because, again, you jump into something new before you wrap up the other thing, and that could just hinder your progress. So this could just be saying that you're reflecting on a lot of those things, really looking over them. It can make you feel like you're in a bit of low energy too, like you're spinning your tires a bit if there is something you're really trying to get off the ground. But Mars in that 12th house though does really kind of push you to do that inner work in some way, shape, or form. That's a transit that happens every couple of years. And then there's also the fact that you have Uranus that was in there for a little bit last year, then it went back into Aries. Now pretty early on in March, it's going to go back into Taurus, and then it's going to be there for the long haul. So that could really light up that 12th house for you as well. And then add to that the fact that you have Mercury, your ruler, going retrograde in the sign of Pisces, which is the natural 12th house, but it's your 10th house. So there could definitely be something there as far as career and, having to be careful that you don't sabotage yourself in some way. All right, in the near future position, we had two cards, and this was pretty interesting. You got the Strength card and the King of Wands. So these are both Leo cards for me. This is the Major Arcana card for Leo, and then this is the Court card for Leo. So to me, that could just be really confirming that you're dealing with a Leo. Another way this could play out, though, is that, Leo represents your third house, and you guys are the natural rulers of the third house. So this could be talking about communication. So maybe in the near future, some kind of communication of yours actually gets spotlighted. Now, they are both in the upright position, so chances are it would be positive, but you do want to be mindful of the fact that, like I said, you do have Mercury retrograde in your 10th house, and that's career and social status, so that could definitely put you in the spotlight in some way as far as communication, but with your ruler being retrograde, just make sure it's not in a bad way. You're going to have a new moon in that house too, the 10th house, and it's going to be conjunct Neptune, so that could give like this dreamy kind of foggy type vibe, so make sure that you're seeing things clearly in that regard too. Maybe that could be, again, what I was pointing to as far as career stuff, Maybe you're trying to jump out of, you're trying to jump ahead too far in the new job, and maybe that's going to be what hinders you. It's like, okay, well, you really need to make sure you tie up loose ends from the past thing before you throw yourself fully into the new thing. Because you have, again, these cards to me are definitely pointing to this has opportunity, and the Hierophant card represents stability, commitment, just tried and true things. This could even be a big corporation, for example. Maybe some of you guys are working for a big company, but this definitely represents the tried and true, the old school methods. And to me, I see a lot of signs that there could be stability, and you might even came out of something stable in the past, but you might feel like you're starting over in some way. But it's just saying, as long as you let those past things go and truly focus on what is right now, you should see a lot of positive progress. All right, and with the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Temperance card. So this is actually the Major Arcana card for Sagittarius, which is your opposite sign. So again, we have Jupiter there, like I was saying. It's in the middle, I think. Well, it's either in the middle 10 degrees or it's in the last 10 degrees. It's close. Let's just say for an estimate, it's somewhere between maybe 18 and 22 degrees of Sagittarius. So for those of you who have some placements in Gemini in those degrees, you could be feeling this impact the most. But the main vibe I'm getting here is that it could be saying that you're seeing the bigger picture now. Maybe you actually are taking that time to reflect and look inward. With that Mars energy in your 12th house and with Mercury retrograde in your 10th house, you could just be taking that time to see the bigger picture and really focus and say, okay, this is where I'm at now. I was here at one point, now I'm here. How do I make sure this is something that I could build that'll last, right? Not to mention, you're actually going to have Venus moving through your 9th house. So as a Gemini, your 9th house is Aquarius. And Sagittarius represents the natural 9th house. So this could be pointing to that as well, saying that Venus energy in your 9th house is definitely going to, lighten up that area for you. So for those of you who are maybe going back to school, let's say, that should be beneficial for you. For those of you who want to do some kind of long distance travel too, that could definitely be a positive thing. This is also, in some decks, this is referred to the Alchemy card as well. So some of you really can, maybe there is something that you have in the works that can be very successful, but it's just saying, looks like the sky's the limit for whatever that may be, but make sure that you wrap up something from your past that needs to go. All right, and then in the position of the environment's influence on the situation, you guys have the Justice card. So this is the Major Arcana card for Libra. And there's not too much going on in the sign of Libra during the month of March, but you will have a full moon there around the 20th, 21st or so. So maybe that's when things get balanced for you. So again, like I was saying, For some of you, if you are going through some kind of a divorce, like I was saying, maybe this is the month that it gets finalized, right? Maybe you're saying, okay, I know this is the real deal. I really want to build this stable relationship with this person, but I've been having difficulty putting this previous relationship to bed, right? There's been holdups with court, whatever the case may be. And now this month, around the time of that full moon, maybe you finally get the paperwork and, everything's finalized and you're good to go forward. You have the Eight of Wands at the bottom of the deck too, which could represent a lot of rapid communication coming in. So, maybe if there was some kind of holdup with that, you're like, okay, cool, I'm finally free to this. I can continue to move forward with the new connection, right? And that's the energy that you're coming in from there. Trying to think if anything else stands out to me about that, but it's really what I'm getting primarily. Some of this could be karmic balance as well, because I think if I remember right, your video for February referred to, letting karma balance things out. So maybe that's what this was about, right? Maybe you're feeling like it's not coming around. You're like, okay, where's this judgment, right? Where's the karma that I was supposed to get? And then maybe it finally does come around as we start to get, move through the month of March. Maybe that's what the Strength and the King of Wands card is about in the near future. Maybe that represents you, getting the boost from that, right? Okay, good. I can finally put this behind me now. I feel free, right? Maybe that's what's going on there. But with this in the upright, it's definitely a good card to have. And what I noticed too, interestingly enough, is it's the only air energy in this spread. And, you guys are air signs, so a lot of fire energy here. So it's interesting. It's like almost like you're moving out from pentacle energy towards fire energy. And, at the end of, not at the end of the month, right at the start of April, you guys are going to have Mars in your sign. So maybe that's what the Emperor represents in the outcome position. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's just things bubbling beneath the surface. Once you get that Mars energy into your sign, that might reinvigorate you and give you that forward movement that you're looking for as well. But it's just interesting to me, though, that there's really not any air energy aside from the Justice card. So maybe there's some significance to that too. Maybe you guys have been feeling out of sorts lately, out of your element. But Geminis are pretty adaptable. All the mutable signs especially usually are. But it's just something I was noticing there. Alright, in the hopes or fears position, we have the Ace of Wands. So, Ace of Wands in this position, to me, it's saying that you're really hoping to start something new. We're kind of getting that vibe, and again, like I said, it looks like the only thing that would block that from being successful was not fully being out of the old thing. So that's primarily what I'm getting here. It's like you're ready for a fresh start, you're ready to wipe the slate clean in some way, shape, or form, but maybe, you know that there's something you have to really wait for to fully wrap up, but you're already jumping into the next thing. So, this is just a hope or fear position though, so it doesn't usually point to something that you can tangibly see playing out during the month, but it's just more something that's on your mind. But it definitely looks like you're ready to start something new. And then in the outcome position, you guys got the Emperor card. So this is the major arcana card for Aries. So if we look at that, well, Chiron is actually going to be traveling through Aries. It's going to be there to stay for years. So, maybe that's going to bring some healing to that area of life. Obviously, the sun is going to be there, like I was saying, towards the end of the month. And again, you'll have Mars going right into your sign. So, Aries representing the first house. Mars will be in your first house starting in April. So maybe that's what it's saying. Maybe this is you just really tying up those loose ends this month, which would be a pretty good idea between the fact that Mars is in your 12th, so you usually don't have that energy to really throw yourself into something anyway, even if you wanted to. And you're going to have your ruler retrograde for a big chunk of the month. So with those two energies, that could just be saying, this is a time to tie up loose ends. Maybe, again, let the rest of that karma play out. and it looks like it would be in your favor with this in the upright. And then you could hit the ground running starting in April with Mars moving into your sign, you know. But like I said, we have a lot of oracle cards to get through, so let's see what they can add to the spread. So the first one you guys got was Between Worlds. I've only gotten this card maybe once or twice, but immediately what my mind went to looking at this was the same thing that we were saying, right? That theme where it seems like you're starting something new, but you still have that old thing behind you that you need to put behind. And that might be what it is too. It could even be, for some of you, it could just be, I don't normally get that vibe with Judgment in reverse. But if we look at the color differences, like maybe you guys were just feeling depressed for a while, maybe you're coming out of that energy. And now, okay, the sun's starting to shine again, right? No pun intended, but with the Leo energy there, it's like, okay, you're coming out of that energy, but, you're like, maybe you're trying to move a little bit too fast. You're like, okay, I'm finally feeling a little bit better, and maybe you go a little overboard. Maybe that's what the Eight of Wands is saying there. You go from the state you were in to just going all out, and could just be a bit of a warning there. But we'll see what the messages say. Like I said, I only got that one a couple of times, so I don't remember fully what it's about. Alright, it says essential meanings. Transitions, not being quite out of one situation and fully engaged in another. Temporary blindness, no man's land. So yeah, not being quite out of one situation and fully engaged in another definitely makes sense there. The Oracle's message says, between the worlds is where you must let go of the tendency to make assumptions. This is a time when you are unable to see what is ahead. Cultivate curiosity and trust the process of change and growth. You are done learning the lessons of recent experiences. In this place, between what was and what will be, is a state of making and unmaking and making again. What is essential now is to admit not knowing. There is great freedom and power to be unleashed. A mystery that is not yours to understand weaves the web of life within a divine matrix of consciousness greater than your own thoughts, feelings, beliefs, desires, and decisions. The seeds that were planted in the past begin to take root, but what surfaces will probably not be what you expect. When you are between worlds, you are invited to see with the curious eyes of a child, glimpsing a rainbow for the first time. Do so, and you will not be disappointed. So that's definitely an interesting message there. When it was saying the part about where'd it go? You are invited to see with the curious eyes of a child glimpsing a rainbow for the first time. That made me think of the Temperance card a little bit, just as far as, like I said, it's almost seeing something from the opposite side, right? I mean, you guys are Geminis, Sagittarius is your exact opposite, so it's like looking at things through a different set of eyes than you normally would. So that could be what's at play there. The relationship message says, this is a time to explore the new energy between you and another. It is not a moment for certainty, but rather for discovery and curiosity. You don't yet know if this will last forever, so allow yourself to explore who you are and what is reflected back to you. This relationship is meant to educate you about yourself. What do you need? What do you like or dislike? What values are important to you? You are in a critical phase of your relationship that is not to be dismissed or hurried. So I like that message there too. And then what else comes to mind when I'm thinking about it too is these two cards both represent balance. So maybe it's saying that there is a connection in your life that's going to help you get that balance. Like I was saying with the Three of Pentacles, that represents building something stable and something that you're happy with. So, maybe that's what this connection will be about. And maybe that's what it's saying. It has that potential to go for the long haul. Maybe you can't see for sure, okay, where is it going to end up? But, it's saying at the very least, it sounds like they'll help balance you out. And even if it's not a relationship that's meant to last, it looks like it could show you a lot about what you would want going forward, All right, the prosperity message says, in your work, sometimes you try things that have worked for others, hoping that you too will be successful. When this symbol appears, it reminds you that sometimes the path to your prosperity is a gamble. Win or lose, you can learn much from what comes of your wager. It's a good time to bet on your skills and talents in new and different arenas. Remain curious, and with the right combination of timing and luck, you will stumble upon something golden that will be unlike anything you've known before. So that's an interesting card as well. Stumble upon something golden was interesting to me because I was looking at the Four of Wands, and then we have the golden energy there with the Strength card as well. And I was saying, you could end up being in the spotlight in some way, shape, or form, because this represents, you see, your third house of communication. And like I say, you just have to be careful though, because having all that energy in your 10th house is definitely, has the potential to put you in the spotlight. But with your ruler being retrograde, you just want to make sure it's in a good way, Fame versus infamy, right? All right, then the next card you got was Here and Now. There's the artwork for it, and the number for that is 32. And it's interesting there. Again, it seems to have that theme, right? Because if we look at right here, it says the past. If I could get it to focus. All right. Well, yeah, it's not focusing right now, but take my word for it. It says the past in this one, and then this one says the future. So, and it says you are here, right there in that flag. So, interesting. That again seems to be, if we look at that, that's almost a repeat of the Between Worlds part, and it's saying, all right, you're right in the middle of that, right? So, let's see what this one has to say. All right, it says, being fully present in the moment, living one day at a time. The Oracle's message, everything happens in the now, in the present. Only this moment counts. You have what it takes to handle anything today if you let go of the need to look into the future or reflect on the past. Be present and notice what is going on right now. This very moment has the potential for you to create miracles in your life. Okay, so I like that there. And, again, like it says, looking into the past, or reflecting on the past or whatever. Maybe that's what it's saying. Try to resist doing so. Like I said, with the Judgment in reverse, it's like there's something in your past that you're having trouble letting go of. And maybe that's what's hindering your forward progress in the now. All right. And the relationship message says, it's easy to yearn for a love affair or friendship you may not have right now. One that is more romantic, more fun, more reliable, more passionate. The good old days are gone, and a new day has dawned. Let your heart trust that you have everything you need right now, whether you have the relationship you desire or not. Tomorrow is beyond your reach. Yesterday cannot return. The now is all that is available to you. Stay present and aware that in this moment, as you cherish and approve of your beautiful self, you are a magnet for love. Spirit is madly in love with you right now. Did you know that? Turn to Spirit to feel the joy of love in the here and now. So, that's definitely a cool message, especially for some of you, like I said, if some of you were going through a divorce, because that 10 of Pentacles in the past, and then the 3 of Pentacles here with the Judgment in reverse, Justice there, could definitely be that some of you are letting go of one relationship and trying to start a new one. And maybe it's even saying to take it easy with that too. I think the other card had a similar message for the relationship. It's saying, try not to project too far ahead, but you could definitely benefit from letting the old things go. All right, and then the prosperity message says, what you are working on is golden, and your efforts will leave a powerful legacy. Focus not on meeting a goal in the far-off future, but on creating your dream now, releasing your desire for an outcome, and owning that it already exists. It will appear in the material world as if by magic. Claim your prosperity now. The essence is more important than the form. When you are immersed in prosperous thoughts, you automatically tune in to a sense of timelessness and unlimited potential. You can act as if, in spite of the temporary outer conditions, you are prosperous at this moment. What you think now becomes your reality. Stay present. So what you think now becomes your reality. Stay present. That's an interesting message as well. Again, it just seems like, even though it doesn't directly point to it, it just makes me think of that judgment in reverse again. It's like, however hard it may be, it looks like you really have to do the work to let something from your past go that's maybe been blocking you in some way, especially with Mars in the 12th. That could be what that's pointing to. All right, and like I said, you also got two messages from the next Oracle deck, which is the Spirit Animal Oracle. The first one you guys got was Squirrel Spirit. It says, believe in yourself. There's the artwork for it, and it's number 57, in case that resonates for some of you. All right, it says, you have accumulated wisdom and experience and are surrounded by all you need. An abundance of resources available to you through the generosity of spirit and all your hard work. Squirrel Spirit shows up when you need reminding that the acorns you have gathered and stowed away have enormous potential to grow, so relax into knowing there is always enough and you have what it takes to co-create the reality you want to experience. Through diligent preparation, you have gained wisdom and strength. How much potential you have. Believe in yourself, for Spirit believes in you and wants you to know you have enough and are enough. Doesn't that truth make you feel safe and secure? It should, for you have everything you need right now. Okay, so that's obviously a good message to get there, and maybe that's what the Justice card will represent for some of you too. It's like, hey, no matter what, you might feel like things are a bit out of balance right now, but whether it be karmically or otherwise, things will remain in balance. You just have to trust in that. All right, and then lastly, the next card you guys got from that deck was the White Raven Spirit. It says, trust in the magic. There's the artwork for it, and this one's the number 66. Okay, it says, nothing in the universe is random, for the intricate web of co-creation weaves together all events and has done so since the beginning of time. Coincidences have meaning, and White Raven Spirit appears to remind you to pay attention to these synchronicities so that you might recognize patterns. Even the winds dance in a pattern, participating in the magic of Spirit's plan for all. Align with the highest good and intentions, and you will come to see that White Raven is guiding you, an ally to you and a messenger from Spirit. Align with the light, and you will start to recognize that all is working together harmoniously in ways the eyes can't always see and the mind can't always comprehend. The universe is conspiring on your behalf right now, drawing you to the light and bringing you the magic and miracles that are your birthright. Now is the time to trust in the magic of the world that is everywhere and in all things. Pay attention to how things come together as if by magic, and you will see the hand of Great Spirit arranging things in your favor. So all those references to Spirit, and it's interesting to me too, because all that time I forgot to mention, of course, that angle as well, which is the Hierophant. Maybe between the fact that you have Mars in your 12th house and you're going to have Mercury retrograde in the original 12th house of Pisces, maybe for some of you that has you reconnecting with spirituality in some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be traditional religion, even though that's what's shown in that card there. Could be anything as far as spirituality goes. Maybe some of you guys are getting back into yoga or starting yoga for the first time. Maybe this is your first time looking at tarot videos. Who knows? Plenty of ways that could play out. But maybe it's saying, trust in that connection if that's what you're called to right now. All right, and then the last thing we have is a mudra card. So for those of you who haven't seen it from the past couple of months, I started pulling a mudra card for each sign. And what a mudra is basically is it's a gesture or a pose that you create with your hands while you're meditating. And their purpose is to help you clear blockages. You know, they could be spiritual, sometimes even physical, emotional, and you know, depending on the gesture, they usually have a different focus. The key word for this one is auspiciousness. And basically what you would do is you'd want to hold them for at least 5 minutes while meditating. Some of them recommend 30 to 45 minutes, but if you're not used to meditating, that would feel like forever. So, you know, start off with the 5 minutes, and if you felt it benefited you, maybe you could try to work your way up with the time from there. But I'll turn it around so you guys can see the messages for it. Okay. So keep this on the screen for a second in case you wanted to screenshot it or pause the video to read it. And then I'll move it up a bit so you could see the rest of the messages. So yeah, as you can see, for benefits, it says opens the chest, facilitates deep breathing, benefits the heart and lungs, balances inner and outer aspects of life, spiritual and worldly, serves as a window through which we can directly touch the inherent unity behind the veil of duality. Oh, and sorry, I forgot to say the name of the mudra, but it's the Dharmachakra mudra. And what I'll do too is I'll put the name of that in the description of the video in case you guys wanted to look into it some more. You know, whether you do a search on YouTube, maybe there's some videos about it, or at the very least you should find some articles about it on Google. But yeah, we'll wrap up there, guys. I'm not going to be, for those of you who watch this, I'm going to be posting this in the middle of February, basically. So for those of you who watch it before March, just letting you know I'm not going to be doing personal readings until March 1st. So I'll be shutting them down for a bit, but for those of you who are watching it in March, I should be back up and running by then. If you're interested in that, so you can check out the About section for more info on that. And you guys can also follow me on Instagram where we have a little bit more fun with tarot and astrology. But for now, we'll wrap up there, guys, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.